unceded territories of the First Nation on which we have got a chance to gather today. And I would also like to acknowledge the fact that Musqueam, Squamish, and the Silverta nations had control of these territories before we came here. Uh, so, good afternoon, everyone, and Sat Shri Akal. Today, I, Gurjashan Singh, am here before you to present a research which I just did in last couple of months, Upping the Ante, representing the South Asian diasporic identities in Canadian contemporary art. So you might be wondering what Upping the Ante is. What is diasporic identity and what does it has to do with Canadian contemporary art? This is what you will be seeing in the further slides. So, Upping the Ante is an amalgamation of real life photographs, 8 paintings, a coloring book by Indian born artist Meera Sethi, who now lives in Toronto, Canada. This was completed by her in 2016. On the right, you see all the 8 paintings of 8 different women from the South Asian diaspora. Now, why does diasporic identities have to do so much with Canadian contemporary art? These are the women who we see around us. They are living on Canadian territories. They show the people who live here. So they are actually a part of our societies, and addressing their concerns is important. Who actually is an auntie? Any strange Indian woman is an auntie. Aunties guard the Indian traditions and break social conventions. In South Asian cultures, women were usually thought to be housemakers. They did not have much independence, but as they moved beyond the boundaries of their countries and entered different cultures, they have started to earn for themselves. They have broken those stereotypes. Also, we all know aunties are the gossip mongers of the neighborhood. And the most special thing, they have their own special fashion statements. Every auntie carries their unique, distinct character. Every auntie has their own style. They prefer comfort and they also want to stay connected with their roots and traditions. You will usually see aunties wearing sneakers with saris, which is a traditional Indian dress. That is something which aunties have curated to be their own style, their own statement. For this presentation, we'll be focusing on one of the pictures, or one of the paintings from the series Upping the Ante, Ramavati Auntie. So, what are the distinct visual characteristics? Ramavati Auntie wears a red mark in her hair, which is called sindoor, a symbol of wedlock. Next, she wears a pink dot on her forehead, a bindi, which also shows her marriage status. Next are the gold rim aviators, a sign that Ramavati Auntie is modern as well. She has knowledge of Western world and Western styles. She has knowledge of the Eurocentric notions. She pairs all these elements with gold earrings and a Mangal Sutra. Mangal Sutra also ties her identity with being married. Coming to the bottom half, you can see that Ramavati Auntie wears a tinsel necklace which connects her to the Hindu gods. This shows that Ramavati Auntie is on the way to the temple. She also carries a carved wooden comb. Just in case there is some wind and it messes her hair, she must carry a comb. Next are the chunky bracelets or bangles in her arms. You see that she is wearing all sorts of bangles with different shapes, colors, sizes, and patterns on them. This is a unique identity. She also wears some statement rings, which is not that common in the South Asian culture, but is an influence of the Western world on her. Our auntie is sustainable as well. She carries a reusable bag and prefers comfort over fashion. She is wearing blue slippers to stay away from the heat. So, how does hybridity and fashion identity come together? You already saw about Ramavati Auntie. Same is the case for Pinky Auntie. She is wearing traditional Indian attire, salwar kameez, pairing it with sneakers, wearing sunglasses, hoops, and even carrying a tablet. She is quite modern. Viji Auntie pairs a leather jacket with a sari and even wears a hat and a necklace that says Viji in English. Poonam Auntie is so stylish as well. She wears a suit that has Facebook logo on it. So, why is this fashion so important? Why do we need to address this? These aunties are part of our everyday culture. They show their real self. Fashion brings out the real or the true self in them. This is who they are. This is the culture they relate to. So, what is the dedication behind this project? Why did Meera Sethi decided to choose South Asian women to represent their diasporic identities? Meera Sethi says herself, upping the ante is a reflection of diasporic location and community. This project by Meera Sethi is an attempt to honor the women who are trying to find their diasporic identities. Oftentimes, the identities, the fashion statements of aunties go unnoticed. Many times, people make fun of their hybrid pairings of wearing sneakers with a sari or even wearing a jacket in Canadian winters with a suit. But this is the actual fashion sense they have developed. They have brought two different cultures together, one from the home country and one from the place they are living in. This is what diasporic identity is. When you bring your real home and present home together, it's not something which you can actually see. It is a hypothetical space. It's a third space that relates you to who you are, to the subculture you relate with. Just like I, being from Punjab, wearing a turban, relate with other people from Punjab who also wear a turban. So, what is the purpose behind Upping the Ante project? Meera Sethi, by this project, has raised intellectual and aesthetic concerns. This project summons patriarchy. It shows that women are no less than men. They are independent as well. They have their own true identities. It challenges the Eurocentric and personal identities. Eurocentricity is challenged when these women from South Asian diaspora pair the Western fashion icons in their traditional outfits. Wearing sneakers may sound very normal, but when these women do it, they engage in self Orientalism. They act where they show that they are no less than the Western world, that Asian cultures are equally good. We all live in a place which should treat everybody equally. This art project has inspired women to break stereotypes and a lot of symbolism involved. You already heard how it has various aspects that relate Rambati auntie to her Hindu culture or being married. The sari she wears is not only symbol of the Hindu tradition, it also shows the seamless purity. So, hybridity and plural identities are coming together in this project. Aunties are finding their real self. This is where we get inspiration. There are many international students who are still trying to figure out their true identities, their true selves, and they get inspired from artworks like this. And this is why we need more diasporic artists in Canadian contemporary art. Thank you, and now the floor for questions and feedback.
Yeah. Thank you, Katashan.
So yes, this is my presentation about the an analysis of composition of George Seurat's A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Grand Zete. So it is the artwork that was made by George Seurat. So he is represented in the next slide. Please next. So here we can see that George Seurat, who was a French artist, and he made this painting, and he was the forefront of the pointillism technique of the new impressionism genre. And he took 2 years to paint this painting between 1884 and 1886. So it reveals the large gathering of choice people who were enjoying their Sunday on the island near the gates of Paris situated in the Seine River. Next, it is considered the famous artwork of George Seurat because this is the technique that first time was used by George Seurat. And in this painting, I will discuss about the main components of this painting, that are form, space and depth, color and lines and shapes. So moving to the form, in the form there are various things are included, such as focal point, background, midground, and the background. Next, move to the next slide. Yes, so it is the close up of focal image. Here I wanna mention about that what is focal point. So focal point is the central image of a painting, or we can say that if we see any kind of artwork, it can be painting, architecture, or anything, the eyes, like our eyes goes first towards that thing, that is the focal point. If we saw this painting, then our eyes goes toward this couple because it is the largest figure and it is in front of us. So it is the focal point of this artwork. Next, move to the next slide. So here I wanna mention about the foreground. So in the foreground, we can see that we can divide the foreground, midground, and background. So we will divide the painting into three parts: foreground, background, and midground. So in the foreground, this is the foreground scene by George Rath that is represented in front of us. So in the couple and the other people on the left side of this artwork is the foreground. So we can see this, that there is large gathering of people which are captured or painted in the foreground. Some people are sitting while some people are enjoying and some people are shipping as well. So it is the foreground of this painting. Next slide. After that, in the background, there are several things that are notable. So we can see that this is the close-up of background by George Rath. Even though it is too much far from us, but all the things can be seen very clearly. Like there is a sailing boat and a person who is shipping and some trees. Even there are some buildings behind as well. So these things can be clearly seen because of the background. So it is the close-up of background by George Rath. Moving to the next slide. Here I wanna talk about the space and depth. So sorry, here I will talk about the use of lines. In this painting, we can see that there are use of lines has been done. There are many lines like curved as well as diagonal and slanting line has been used. In the couple, we can see that there has umbrella in their hands. So umbrella is in the shape of curved line. Even their hats have use of curved line as well as diagonal lines. So it all of these things has been done with the using of lines that are curved lines, either diagonal lines. Moving to the next slide. Here we can see that this is the distance between sky and sailboat by George Seurat. So we can clearly see the distance between both. So all of this is made out of the technique of space and depth. Space and depth is the main technique of the compositional part of artwork. So it is the technique that is created by changing the size of element in the subject. Because of the technique of the depth, we can see that sailing boat and trees are very far from each other. So it was technique about space and depth. Moving to the further slide. This is the close-up of legs by Zurat sir. Here I want to mention about the use of overlapping. So overlapping is the technique where we can easily distinguish between two things. It can be either person or anything. So here we can see that a person is sitting and he has bent in his legs. So it can be clearly seen and it seems it is realistic because of the technique of overlapping. So it is also the main compositional part of any painting. Moving to the next slide. Here, this is the image that is displayed at Art Institute of Chicago because this painting is currently exhibited at the Art Institute of Chicago. So all of these things about my presentation, and here I'm inviting to all of you to come with me and to visit this.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Wan Chandason and I'm from Laos. Today I'm going to represent the Secret War in Laos. To be honest, I don't like history very much because a lot of the history involved a sad story in Laos that the Americans did in the past. But I think it's important to bring this on, and so people here know, kind of to tell a bit of what happened. So before I go further, I want to ask this question. Have you heard about the secret war in Laos? So basically, secret war in Laos is the Vietnam War that happened in 1955. But then they start bombing Laos in 1964 to 1960. To 1973. And the bomb was dropped about 2 million tons in the whole country. And as you can see in this red picture here, within the country, that is how much the bomb still left under the ground and spreadedly. But today I'm not going to talk what actually happened in the war, because we all know that it's very obvious and very bad. I'm going to talk more about, even though the war is ending like 48 years ago, but it's still affecting the people today and will carry on to the future. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. Yeah, so we know war is affecting the country in many different ways, but today I'm going to talk about these three main affecting the most in Laos still at the moment is the farmers, children's educations, and the economy. Next. So farmers in Laos, actually 33% of the populations in the whole country are farmers and making their life by growing rice. And for these farmers, going to the rice field is just like going to the war in the next morning, and they wake up with the worry because they never know that if it will still be the unexploded bombs in the under the ground, and they would be, accidentally attempt to the bomb and then step on the bomb, and that will eventually like explode near them, and they probably die. And as you can see in this picture here, that is actually an organization called UXO. It's an organization that placed the bomb in the Laos, and they found this bomb under the ground and in the rice field. Imagine if this organization did not find this bomb and this farmer go there, make their rice field, and then cut the tree and burn the grass, and that bomb will warm up and explode near them or with their children. They would die as well. As you can see in this picture with the guy who actually burns from the bomb, that bomb explode near to him. And for these people, it's like going to the war. I mean, going to the rice field is just like every day they have to wake up with worry if they will leave their childrens behind them, and what if they lose their hand and legs, what their childrens will eat, because if they don't work, then they will not be able to provide foods to their families. So can you go next slide? And secondly is the children's educations. I have a friend who has a nephew in from the same area where I'm from. His nephew found the bombs behind the backyard, and then he played with the bomb because he didn't know that was a bomb, and then he just played, thought it just a ball or something, and the bomb ended up with exploding near him, and then he lost his leg, lost his hand, has very serious brain damage, which he has to end up with dropping the school and did not even go to school anymore. Imagine there's like thousands of children who have the same story there and have the same effects in the country. And some children would just find the bombs in their schoolyard and play with it, and they lost their limbs, and so they can't go to school anymore. It affects their future, affects their families, and also eventually affect the country too, because the children are the future of the country. And also the parents are poor, sometimes they don't even have the money to buy the wheelchair for their children and send their children to school. So a lot of these kids who are affected by this, they drop out of the school. And in the article calls the secret in Laos, say 40% of the victims are children. Can you go next slide? Thank you. And so third one is the economy. If you look at the Lao GDP and the Canadian GDP, that's almost 6 times. I mean, that's 6 times difference, which is very huge in difference. And in 2013, the Lao government spent 13 millions per day to clear bombs. Rather than spend this money to clear bombs, we should use this money to build a better hospital, and then all the poor children can go to the hospital for free if they have the like if they sick or something, and that will eventually increase the life expectancy, and people will live longer and can work longer and pay tax, and that will also increase the economy. And also in the 2016, sorry, still I haven't finished the previous one. Sorry. Yeah, in 2016, the former President Barack Obama, he came to Laos. Actually, by the way, he's the first American president in the history who ever came to Laos, and he donated $92 million to clear the bombs as well. Imagine using this money rather than clearing the bomb. We can use this to spend on the building good school, sending Lao students to study overseas, like me, study overseas, and then gain more knowledge, gain more ability to come back and develop the country, creates more job, and eventually will increase the net income to the country, and people will have a better life over there. And so rather than using this all the money, we can use more for the good thing, as I said, and build the hospital, build good school, and also better than that, we can send the instructor or the professor from the university to study overseas, and we can come back and teach the local children, local school. And when more people are educated, then will be more people can work in a better place and can produce a better job, and then will increase the company, the government's income. Okay, next slide. Takes time to bring that up. Next. Yeah, so I want you to ask these questions. If this was your country, what would you do in order to stop this nightmare? So in my opinion, I think the government, or I don't know, maybe the international government or the American government could spend more money to clear the bombs and then get rid of the bomb as soon as possible. They can also send maybe a police or military who has is expert, who have more ability in this particular way to clear the bombs, the unexploded bomb, and then it will gone as soon as possible, so the economy is safe, the people stop injured, and then the children can go to school happily. And I would like to end this presentation by leaving this heartbreaking picture in the end. Can you go for the next one? Yeah, these are the people who are affected. These are all the farmers who has affected from the bombs. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim, and today I'm going to present on the topic of mental health, particularly mental health at workplace, how it's working, how it's not working, and also what can be done to improve it in the future. In my presentation, I will firstly introduce about mental health, its great contribution to workers at the workplace over the years, following by my arguments on how some of the approaches of mental health at workplace are ineffective, continue with some suggestions of possible approaches to improve it. And finally, the key takeaway points from my presentation. Without any further ado, let us get started. Matters regarding work school related stress, financial burden, or family or self pressure for success have always existed and affected our mental health and wellness. The topic itself is not unconventional, right? Like everybody of us know how what mental health is, how it affects our mind, body, and well-being. But have we paid enough attention to it? In an article published in February 2020, it is reported that 75% of Gen Zers aged 23 and under would give up on their current jobs because of mental health illness reason. So, from these statistics, does raise a question of have we been taking care of ourselves enough? Has the company that we're working for provided enough attention to our mental health? Or is it not until when the whole world has shifted online with remote studying and working from home that it requires more than ever of our undivided attention? At the workplace, the wellness initiatives have been very supportive over the years, with multiple benefits packages besides salary and insurance coverage, especially in terms of work settings and beneficial programs. The work environment has been given more attention to enhance better performance for workers through first the design of the workplace with, for example, bright colors can bring inspiration to work, tempo and more muted spaces can increase attentiveness. There are also more occurrences of mental health and wellness week in the company to raise awareness about mental issues, to promote open channels of communication, and also to encourage healthier lifestyles among workers. Next is the provision of beneficial program, which helps connect employees with the available resources. There is first the Employee Assistance Program that manage health threat through on-site training, consultation with managers, crisis response, and also regular checkups with human resources. In addition, there are the traditional behavioral health benefits that provide coverage for diagnosed mental health conditions and network of mental health care specialists. In my opinion, these are such great benefits that they have made an individual's workspace more inclusive and supportive. However, there are few mental health initiatives that shows ineffectiveness due to its, first of all, temporariness, and second is the tardiness response to emotional problems. First of all, the temporariness. They are not durable because of the uncertainty about regular participation, such as lunch break yoga or the on-site massage after work. These can come from workers' hectic work schedule, the lack of interest, or the health limitations that the worker are experiencing. Moreover, some initiatives are unable to last as they are band-aid solutions to the emotional issues that the workers are experiencing. For example, according to Liz Kislig in her research, it's unlikely to expect a successful outcome when establishing communication training or anger management classes to interpersonal conflicts at work that actually come from the differences in values, beliefs, norms, or educational background. Secondly, some wellness initiatives are untimely approached because individuals reach out to them when they're on the verge of anxiety or depression, like they're having high level of anxiety or depression, such as to therapy sessions, counseling visits. This could be unhelpful if not being provided on a regular basis with regular check-ins, regular evaluation, which reduce the chance to prevent the emotional instability from occurring before it starts. Another reason for the methods to be untimely is because the process might be a self-reflection than a cure to mental health. Since technology has advanced, there are digital wellness products and services that allow users to track their mental health and well-being and also to complete mental health practices at their own pace. But I believe they are likely to take full self-reflection with, like, of course, data records with also some assistance from artificial intelligence and mental health care specialists. But I still believe that they take a self-reflection rather than a overall mental medical assessment for diagnosis and suitable treatment in time. Actions do sound really challenging, especially when you have to consider multiple factors such as company expense, social elements, individual situation, but they are feasible. And first, organization could start with striving to build a culture of inclusiveness and openness with individuals start to have regular checking-ins with their coworkers, managers checking in with their with their worker either at the beginning of the meeting or during lunch break, so that they can foster a more supportive and connected community within the workplace. And also, it's important to show understanding and empathy towards other individuals' hardship and difficulties. At the workplace as well. And secondly, it is crucial for companies to have a mental health expert position in the workforce so that they can have mental health sessions to educate employees about how their mental health is being affected and how it affected our lives, and to also to hold periodic sessions like regular mental checks out with regular evaluation so that emotional instability can be prevented in advance. And finally, after the mental and wellness are established within the company, it's also very important to expand the mental health and wellness foundation to the community that is surrounded by the company, that is surrounding the company, either with participating in the local or nonprofit organization with their mental health campaign or sponsorship, or to organize a campaign itself to raise awareness about mental health and encourage a healthy lifestyle in the community. This allows the companies the chance to give back to the community while developing its image as an organization that pays attention to social issues. And in conclusion, it's important.
Excuse me, Kim. I want to tell you that we have 2 minutes left. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And in conclusion of my presentation, it's important to acknowledge how important mental health is to our lives, either pre-COVID, during COVID, or past COVID. And the workplace can be one of the first places to start to improve it. While some mental health programs are beneficial, some shows ineffectiveness due to its temporariness and tardiness response. Solutions can start from the individual themselves with understanding, empathy towards other workers. That corporate can take actions through hiring mental health specialists to conduct training, monitor workers' health to prevent emotional instability to occur. And finally, the importance of giving back to community and foster a more safe and mental health-free environment. So, at the end of my presentation, I just want to say that changes can be made and when actions are taken, right? And so as mental health problems. They are solvable as long as when they are heard and when they are shared. Thank you. And before I just end my presentation, I was just like, please, I didn't say acknowledge my sources. Sorry, to acknowledge my sources, all of the information that I have used for the presentation. And thank you so much. And now we can move forward to the question and answer part.
Yeah. So for the question and answer part, the chat is on, and